I want you guys to take a look at how the zone reacts when you move the ball. And this is the first possession of Game 6 here. And you see Team 8 is set up in a 2-3 zone. They got two guys at the top, guy in the middle, two forwards. Okay, so first pass goes here. Now one thing I like here is we have good spacing, right? Everyone is spaced out. No one is hiding behind a defender, so everyone's available. And we have two people in one zone. Over here we have Asher and we have Lewis, and they're occupying one zone, so this defender is in a little bit of trouble right away, just from one pass here. And you'll see what happens, when Asher passes it to Lewis, both the center and the forward come over to him. So he's immediately double teamed, and Cooper cuts towards the ball, which is the right thing to do, and two players go with him, the weak side forward and the top guard. So now we have four players on the defense covering only two of our players. That leaves one guy over here covering the other three players. So Asher's open, Nathaniel's open, and Tomas is not really open because he's all there on the weak side and this man could intercept. But if Tomas were maybe had moved to the baseline, this open spot here, he would also be open. But the point is, all we need is a simple pass here to reverse the ball, and so Lewis passes it back to Asher, who could have shot this, but it's 20 seconds, 10 seconds into the game. So his best move probably here is to pass to Nathaniel and swing the ball to Tomas, and Cooper cuts over here, and we just keep moving the ball like that. However, what happens here, Asher dribbles. Now, the reason we don't want to dribble against the zone first of all, when you're not going anywhere, is all it does is give the defense a chance to reset. So he's not going anywhere. There's absolutely no reason to dribble the ball unless you are driving. So it just makes the pass a little harder. But he does make the pass, and again, you'll see, all the players staring at the ball. Where has the ball gone? They don't exactly know where Tomas is now, and they don't know where Lewis is. Lewis happens to be cutting baseline, and so if Cooper had been turning that way for any reason, he may have seen Lewis, but he passes to Nathaniel, which is a good pass because Nathaniel's wide open here, and he could have shot this, but he wasn't ready to shoot. So he fakes a shot, and then, the evil dribble. So why don't we want to dribble this ball? Like immediately, what happens when you dribble is, again, the defense has time to reset. Everyone's back in position right away. He pulls up the dribble, and now he's under pressure. So when you use your dribble and then stop, it makes your pass more difficult, makes everything more difficult. Now the defender's right on top of him here, and so he has a much harder pass. So he makes this pass, and it hits Cooper in the knee. So the pass is harder because you have dribbled, and that's what allows the defender to get right on top of you once you use up your dribble. So you don't want to move your dribble if possible. You just want to pass the ball. So if Nathaniel had either shot or passed right away, then the defense couldn't have gotten reset and would be scrambling around. So try not to dribble if you can. Here's the pass. Luckily, Cooper recovers this ball and passes it back, which is a good play. Get it out of trouble and just reset. Okay, so now he gives it right back to Cooper. Good pass right there. Much easier pass when you haven't dribbled, right? So he passes it right back, and one thing you notice, again, all three defenders looking at Cooper, looking at the ball. These two guys also looking at Cooper. Asher open underneath, and Asher goes to the right spot. You can hide behind the defense so they don't see you, and you'll notice when he cuts to this open spot here, the forward goes with him. The back forward goes with him. So he's leaving his zone. That leaves this entire zone right open. So, if Lewis had cut in here, he's got all this open area here. So again, what you want to do is keep moving the ball and just go to the dead spots, to the open spots in the zone, and keep passing it. Now, this pass happens to be deflected because this defender made a nice play. He timed his jump. One way to get around this is to fake the pass. And if he had faked the pass, he may have either gotten it through to Asher, but more likely he would have passed to Nathaniel, who cut into the open spot. And again, all these three guys looking. So, when you pass the ball and cut like Nathaniel did, you're probably going to be open. And by the way, Lewis could also have been open here. There's so much room when you move the ball and fake some passes. You'll see players wide open. And so essentially that's what we want to do. Okay, second possession of the game, we come down, a pass, a dribble. Actually, now Asher, after the dribble, he's not really open here. Pulls up, doesn't make the shot. Like, against the zone, you really want to try to work the ball a little bit. Of course, if he had made the shot, I'd be saying good shot, but the fact is, this is a tough shot. 2 dribbles, defender all over you, step back, quick release shot. So it doesn't make it. Again, if you move the ball, give the zone a chance to get tired, to make a mistake. You want to try to spend, I would say, at least 10 or 20 seconds trying to get a layup or a wide open 3 if you can. Okay, here's another possession against the zone. We come down, we're setting up. Tomas passes the ball left to Lewis. Lewis doesn't dribble, which is good. He just reverses the ball. Tomas reverses the ball to Nathaniel. That's good. We could perhaps reverse the pass, reverse the ball again to Asher on the right. But Nathaniel fakes the pass, which is, again, fine. Fake some passes. That causes players to move, defenders to move. And instead he passes it right back. So we got that good ball movement going. And you think after all these passes, these good ball movement, pass, that Tomas would just continue passing to Lewis, who's open on the left. But instead, he dribbles. Now again, there's absolutely nowhere to go. There's a defender right in front of him. And so there's no reason to dribble this ball. Dribble, crossover, unnecessary risk, steal. Okay, so again, we don't want you to dribble unless someone is rushing at you to stop you from shooting an open shot, and then you can easily go past him. There's otherwise really no reason to dribble against the zone. It just causes risks. Right, now we did recover this ball, but you get the idea. Continuing here, this is the same possession. So Tomas on the wing, Nathaniel's on the top. He gets the pass over and he cuts, which is good. Now when that happens, whoever's on the weak side, in this case Asher's got to come to the top. Because right now Tomas doesn't have a passing option at the top here. And he doesn't wait for one either, unfortunately. He tries to dribble in. Now he has DJ rushing at him so he can go past. But again, as you can see, there's just a crowd of people here. So DJ on the right, another defender on the left. 2 big men waiting for him. So if you do something like this, you really want to have an exit strategy. And fortunately, Tomas does right here. Nathaniel creates a pass for him. So yeah, know how you're going to get out of a situation before you go into it. But ideally, you don't want to dribble into a crowd. You want to dribble into space. So yeah, best case scenario, Asher rotates and we get the ball going up here. But he passes, and we get a good shot here. This is a good shot. You notice that Lewis was over here in the corner, which you couldn't see initially on the tape. But that might have been a better pass for Tomas right there, because Lewis wide open in the corner and a good amount of space. But we do get a good shot of it. It just doesn't go in. One good thing about going against his zone is it's easier to offensive rebound. And if you move the ball, the defenders aren't in position to box out, and Cooper's able to get this rebound. Here's another possession. Again, they're in their 2-3 zone. We have guys on the perimeter. We have Cooper on the high post. And actually, we have 4 guys on the perimeter here. And so one thing about right here you'll notice is Nathaniel fakes the pass. He's a little concerned DJ's going to intercept, so he holds on to the ball, which is fine. There's no shot clock. There's no 5-second violation. There's no reason to make a risky pass. Now one thing I don't understand, Tomas moves in line with the defender. So this makes the pass impossible. What you really want to do here is you want to be out. So if we reverse the ball, the ball would come here and then to the corner. Asher's over here in the corner. But if Tomas is lined up with DJ, that pass can't get there. So you really want to keep passing lanes open. Here he's open, right? Here he's not open. So keep the passing lane open. So instead, Nathaniel passes to Cooper. Cooper's got his hands up. That's when you want to pass to someone. And Cooper immediately swings it. Now, nothing wrong with this play here. He swings it to Tomas. As you can see now, we have Tomas and Asher open in the corner, and the entire defense, as soon as Cooper got the ball, is collapsed on him, all looking at him. All the 4 defenders right around him. This forward has come up. He has no idea where any of the defenders, where the offensive players are around him. So Cooper dishes off to Tomas. Tomas passes to Asher. Asher in the corner, open three, and Asher drains it. But we're not done. We're not done. Just go back and look at something here. Look at what happened when Cooper got the ball. I love what Lewis does here. Again, you want to duck under the hoop and try to get layups. So Lewis goes right under the basket, and if Cooper had turned quickly, pivoted, or knew he was there, he could have perhaps dumped the ball down. One thing that you don't want to do if you're Lewis here is you don't want to just keep running, right? You see Lewis just sort of kept running right through the zone, and we're going to see this happen later in the game. But, you got 3 seconds. You don't have to get out of the lane in half a second. If you're open, just stay there. Stay under the basket where you can just dump the ball in for a layup, right? So don't run through the zone before you have to. Stay right next to the lane and get a layup. But again, we get the 3, we'll take it. First basket of the game. Next possession, again, they're in their zone, and we have spaced the court pretty well. Tomas has the ball, and you'll see, because Cooper's on the high post here, the center has come all the way out, right? And of course, like most defenders, Chris Klein and Stefan are both looking at the ball. And because they're looking at the ball, it gives Tomas's teammates a chance to get open. And that's exactly what Lewis does. He goes to an open spot, and Tomas is able to zip this pass through. And one thing that I really appreciate about this play is that Lewis, before he gets the ball, he knows where Asher is, right? So when you get the ball, before you get the ball, have an idea of where at least one of your teammates is, if not all of them, so you can make a quick pass, right? Rather than get it and then have to stop and reassess. It's faster if you know where they are in advance. And Lewis knows where Asher is. So he passes it right to him. And so you can see how you can get a wide open shot just from Cooper being here, drawing defenders there, Lewis going to the dead spot, Tomas finding him, and then reverse the ball because, again, the entire defense has moved to that side of the court, and you end up with a wide open 3. In this case, Asher doesn't make it, but again, because the zone is scrambling around, the defenders are scrambling, they don't really box out. And Cooper gets a rebound and draws the foul. Here's another possession. Nathaniel passes the ball to Lewis. Lewis takes a dribble, probably not necessary. And then, can you screen against his own? Absolutely you can. So Nathaniel screens here, and Lewis comes over. Now, when there's a screen against his own, the defense has 2 options. One is the other guard comes over if you're screening against the top of the zone, and the other option is the center comes out. But someone has to come. And if no one comes, then this is an open shot here. In this case, the center comes over and he gets the block. But often the center doesn't come. If the center does come, and you see him, obviously you want to pass to the guy he's leaving open, which in this case is Cooper. But we have a lot of situations on our defense when there's a screen at the top and nobody helps. Center stays back because he's like, I don't have to come all the way out there, but then we have no one there. So the other choice is this guard comes over here, and if the ball gets swung to where he used to be, then the forward helps out, and eventually you get your zone reset. And here's our next possession. And one mistake we often make is we get our offense started before everyone is down the court. So if you're playing 4-on-5, your chances aren't that good, and Nathaniel hasn't crossed half court yet. So really try to wait till your team is down, and unless you have a numerical advantage, you don't want to start your offense too soon. And in this case, Tomas passed it before Cooper was open anyway. So what I want to encourage you guys to do is just make the easy pass. Okay? If there's any substantial risk, don't take it because there's no need. Easy passes are the way to beat zones. You just need enough of them. But you really need teammates to be open. So right here, Cooper is not open, and we don't have 5 players down anyway. So this pass is stolen. Now here you see when we move the ball to Cooper here, and he's kind of in a jam of people, and the ball is stripped away, but Cooper's able to recover. He ends up with the ball on the baseline, and when you get the ball to the baseline against the zone, the defense is really vulnerable because they are all looking at the ball as usual, but they can't see any of the other offensive players. So usually when you get the ball to the baseline, the lane is going to be open. And you see the lane is wide open. There's no one there. Unfortunately, Tomas does not move into it. If he would have moved right there, he might have had himself a pretty easy, 8-foot jump shot. But he stays back. And so when Cooper passes it to him, the defense is kind of rushing at him. He fakes the pass, and now he has an opportunity to go by, and he drives in, and Cooper's open, right? So a couple things. When your teammate does penetrate and get through the zone, you got to create a passing lane, right? You don't want to hide behind someone. You want to give your teammate options so he doesn't end up throwing the ball away or traveling. And so Cooper does a nice job of stepping back just enough to make it an easy pass. And he gets the ball and he puts it right in. So this is good zone offense here. Okay, let's take a look at this possession. Here again, we got the court spread pretty well. We have Cooper in the high post. And this, again, I like this pass because it's safe, right? There's plenty of space there. He's got his hands ready. Then we pass it in. And as soon as he does that, the defense is looking at the ball. I prefer no dribble here, but we get away with it here, and we reverse the ball like that. So, now this pass had to be thrown a little high because the defender was there. But, again, this is good ball movement. That's what you want to do. Now, Asher dribbles the ball. And when you dribble, again, there's nowhere to go here. So, just 2 dribbles, it just makes you have to reset. It gives the defense a chance to reset, so you got to reset the offense. So, try not to dribble unless you're going somewhere. But, again, this is a nice ball reversal here, right? Keep them scrambling around. Pass. Probably didn't need to dribble here. But this is a nice bounce pass to the high post, and when he does, Asher starts to cut. And one thing I want you to notice is when Cooper came up from the low post here, the forward followed him, right? So he's going to vacate his zone. Right? This is, if you start in someone's zone and then you flash to the high post out of it, you're probably going to draw him along with you, which leaves the zone under here wide open. So I guess my first question is, why isn't anyone there? And Lewis is over in the corner here. You can't even see him. But if you're in the corner and you got a guy in the low post and he drags the forward up, you really want to be underneath right away. So you could do pass, 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 and we could get a layup here. But again, this pass gets through, so Asher is in a position to score. He misses a shot, but the most important thing I want to point out here is, like, if you can drag your defender out of his zone, your teammate, I'm hoping, will fill that spot, and so you can get 2 quick passes and a layup. Now in this possession, Nathaniel sets a screen, Tomas comes over, we have Cooper on the high post. Again, when you're on the high post, you don't want to get a 3-second violation, so Cooper's in a good spot. He's outside the lane. And Lewis, who starts this play over in the corner, in the right corner, you can't see him, he's out of the screen, he was able to duck in behind. And this is a pretty good reaction here by the defense. But the good news is Lewis knows where Asher is, right? So again, if you're going to cut or go to an open spot, before you get the ball, have an idea of what your options are, what you can do with it. So as Lewis was cutting in here, he knew he had Asher, and so the 2 quick passes, and again, I've always said 2 quick passes is usually enough to get an open shot, and that's what happens here. So boom, boom, swish. This is our first possession of the second quarter, so we got 5 new players in here, and the first thing you see is a nice cut by Frankie. Again, the defense has come out way, way, way too far. You should never really be out this far unless you're guarding Stephen Curry. someone who can make a 30-foot shot, 28-foot shot. And so Frankie cuts into the open spot, and then he does a nice job of finding him. Now, the only issue here is that Frankie is actually too deep. He's too far under the basket, so not quite in a position to just turn and lay the ball up. So if you're going to cut baseline, cut to a spot where you can just lay the ball up. If he was maybe a foot farther out, he perhaps has a quick layup here. But that's okay. The idea is find those open spots in the zone and pass it. One thing you do want to avoid is you do want to avoid dribbling, if you can, because it gives the defense a chance to reset. So let's pick up that same possession here. And you see Frankie kicks the ball back out. Quick pass. Like quick passes, that's what works. So you got to love this pass. As soon as Eddie gets it, he knows where he's going with it. He's going over here. One more quick pass to Dylan might have been a good idea. Maybe a pass and a cut, or a pass and any cuts while everyone's looking at the ball. But so Zahir dribbles left, and one pass to Jafari, and then you see Frankie cuts to the corner here. So sometimes the best pass is the simplest pass. Like I probably would have made this pass right there to Frankie, and he shoots the 18-foot, 17-foot jump shot from the baseline. It does create an unnecessary risk when you dribble through two people, but the good news here is Jafari remembers where Frankie is, so he has an exit strategy, and he can pass him the ball. But again, simple is usually better. I know it's boring. Maybe don't make Sports Center, but sometimes you just want to make that simple pass right there rather than take a gamble and then dribble 2 steps and make the pass. And again, it's back to the same spot where you would have been in the first place. So sometimes you just want to make that quick, simple pass rather than take any risks. And then the shot here, again, against the zone, you want to end up with a shot, a pretty easy shot, right? This is not an easy shot because it's a shot off the dribble and Frankie's moving the wrong direction. So it doesn't miss by much, but it's always easier when you can catch the ball when you're already facing the basket. You don't have to dribble, you don't have to move anywhere. You could just catch it with your knees bent, square up, and shoot. Like Jafari is, like Zahir is over here. So what could we have done here? We could reverse the ball and reverse the ball to Eni because the defense has moved so far away from him. He might have been in a position to score. So again, you want to try to get easy shots against the zone. That's the key. Don't settle for fadeaway jump shots. I should just finish the play though and show you what happened at the end of it. Because Jafari contests this rebound, we end up getting a bucket. So again, against the zone, go for offensive rebounds and then just hustle back if you don't get it. Jafari contests the rebound, it goes to Zahir, and then Zahir is able to put it right in. So that was great. Second chance points. So on our next possession, again, we have the court spread out nicely. We got Eni with the ball here. We have Dylan on the left wing, we have Frankie on the right wing, and we have Zahir going to the high post, and we have Jafari roaming the baseline. So this is an ideal setup. Everyone's in the place where they're supposed to be. This pass is a little, had a lot of zip on it, and Jafari or Zahir didn't catch it cleanly, so he just recovers the ball and kicks it out, which is what you want to do. You want to avoid the turnover, you want to recover the ball and kick it out. So, and then Frankie perhaps could have passed it right back here. Again, I want to get everyone out of the habit of dribbling the ball when there's really nowhere to go. Like if you want to get the ball to here, the easiest way is just to pass it, not to dribble it. Because when you dribble it, the defense goes with you. But we did get the pass there eventually. The defense just gave this defender an extra chance to catch up with our high post players, and that's where he ended up. But still, I still want to get the ball to the high post, and that's where it is. And the reason is everyone's looking at the ball. These two guys are looking at the ball. These guys are looking at the ball. He does have an idea that Jafari's over here. But look, no one's paying attention to Dylan. So when you get to the ball to the high post, someone, either the person roaming the baseline or the person who's on the wing, should try to duck under the basket and get a layup. And the high post person ideally will catch the ball, pivot, turn, look, and see what he has. Because often there'll be a guy open here, and if he's not open, you know, you have 3 seconds even if you're in the lane. And Zahir is not in the lane here, but he kicks the ball out, which is fine. But again, try to take a look and see if you have a layup, like we did here. So picking the ball up, again, the reason that coaches don't want their players to dribble against the zone is because it makes them very nervous. Coaches don't like to be nervous. They like to feel calm and collected. We got a little fortunate here that no travel was called. Because, you know, you want to make the game as simple as you can. And there's probably no reason to drive this ball. They didn't call a walk, which is good. But this is a tough shot, right? You see, this could have been a foul here, actually. But this is a tough shot. I mean, you got a guy behind you, you got a guy in front of you. Actually, the third defender also came over. So by the time Jafari got to the baseline, he had, you know, three guys defending. One thing about zones, again, offensive rebounds, and Zahir gets it, passes to Jafari, and they call a foul. Okay, next possession, we got the court spread. We have 2 guys crossing on the baseline here. The pass comes from Eni to Zahir, and again, trying to get you guys not to dribble when you don't have to, like that. So 2 dribbles, there's nowhere to go, the defenders are in place. Better just hold the ball and wait for your teammate to flash open. And you know, so we got Dylan coming along the baseline here. Eventually he's going to come over here to the wing. And you know, this is a good place to be if you can shoot the 3, which he can. And Zahir does a nice job of cutting. Like when you pass the ball, cut, especially if your defender's A, looking at the ball, B, too far out, you want to cut behind him. So you cut behind him. If your defender goes with you, no problem. There's no need to pass it if you're covered. And so Dylan doesn't pass it. Instead, we bring a guy in behind him. So when you cut, it moves the defense around. So Zahir, by cutting, moved the defense around and created an opportunity. So Eni gets the ball. And again, this defender, Josh Rubinchik, is rushing out. And he really has no chance to stop Eni from penetrating. So probably the best play here is just 1 dribble and then a pull-up jump shot. But the defense collapses, and he takes an extra dribble, and you know, now we're in a scramble situation. Now he tries to dribble his way out, does dribble his way out, but again, you don't want to end up in these situations against a zone. You want passing the ball, not a lot of dribbling, spacing the court, players moving into open spots. Now we got kind of a bad call here because you know he bounced the ball, and it wasn't out of bounds when he bounced it, and the ref was looking at it, but for some reason he thought it was out of bounds, and he called it. But the point is, let's try not to over dribble, right? Usually 1 dribble is enough to either get a pass or a shot off. 1 dribble is generally enough. So, you know, could have pulled up here. But if not, you know, just eat the ball and kick it back out and start over again. Now here's a transition opportunity created. Zahir hustles over, forces the air ball. And we get the rebound, and here's Frankie, and he's going to leak out, which is a great thing to do. Once you get the rebound, run out, try to beat the defense down. So Dylan secures the ball, safe pass, and he blows by Rubinchik, and Frankie has leaked down. Of course, everyone's looking at Eni, so Frankie's open under the basket. So what goes wrong here? Well, Frankie keeps going. Again, if you're open under the basket, there's no better place to be than wide open under the basket. So just find those spots and then just plant yourself, put up your hands, and get the ball. Right? If you're there, that's where you want to be, and maybe Eni can get you the ball and you can just lay it in. But if you keep going, you're going to have a turnover. Or even if it's not a turnover, you're catching the ball, you're going the wrong direction. Makes it a lot tougher to convert. So yes, great job. Hustle down court, plant yourself right under the hoop. And you know, probably the best pass would be a bounce pass here, and we get a layup out of it. But you get the idea. And of course, it's a lot easier to play this game when you're just watching a video because you can see everything and you can slow motion, stop the action, and assess where everyone is. And of course, when you're playing, everything's going 100 miles an hour. It's a lot tougher. But you get the idea. Try to find those spots where you can score. Don't keep running if you don't have to. Now I know I sound like a broken record, but it's a lot easier to make a pass when you still have your dribble. When you're not dribbling, you're just holding the ball and you still have the opportunity to dribble. Once you start dribbling and then you pull up your dribble, then the defense can come right on top of you because you can't go anywhere. So the passing becomes a lot tougher when there's a guy right on top of you. So here we have Dylan flashes open underneath the basket here. Again, all the defenders looking at the ball like they almost always do. Gives Dylan an opportunity to get open under the hoop. But DJ's on-the-ball defense is really good. It prevents the pass from being made. So these passes are a lot easier when you can just move the ball and catch it and not give up your dribble and then wait for your teammates to cut into that open spot. But once you're under pressure, you can end up making mistakes, and that's what happens here. So again, before you dribble into pressure, just move the ball and try to catch it a little bit closer with your dribble still intact, and you might be able to find a teammate underneath for a layup. Again, that's what we're trying to do against the zone. There's another possession against the zone. In this case, Ennie comes down, and he dribbles a little too far, right? So there's no off coach who will want to break down his own defense by trying to dribble through it. So he sees a matchup advantage against Rubinchik here, but again, against his own, even if you beat one guy, there's going to be 3-4 more guys waiting for you. So try to use ball movement. So this is just the risk here is a turnover, and the reward is nothing because there's nowhere to go even if you get past him. There's more defenders waiting for you. So you don't really want to dribble into traffic if you can help it. Now what happens as a result, Ennie's got two guys on him. Now he happens to make a fabulous pass, right? Because Frankie and Dylan have found open spots under the basket. But again, it is a lot harder to make these passes when you've given up your dribble because you've used it already. So he's able to make that pass to Frankie here, but ideally we move the ball and you have a little more space, a little more freedom, and you can make the easier pass, which in this case would have been to Dylan underneath the hoop, but really tough when there are players right on top of you. So again, don't give up your dribble. Frankie is unable to convert because this is a great block here by the defender, Stefan de Burchard. But the point of my showing you this possession is why it's a lot tougher to make passes once you've given up once you've started to dribble the ball. Now in this possession, Frankie gets the rebound. I always want you guys to find the point guard if you can, which in this case is Ennie on the left, rather than try to dribble the ball up court yourself. Now Frankie gets away with it here, but this is just how you make coaches nervous, right? When you start doing behind the back dribbles and you're 40 feet from the hoop and there are two defenders on you, it's just going to make your coach nervous. And there's not a whole lot of advantage gained from it. It just creates a risk that you didn't need. But we get away with it here. Pass comes as a here. Again, I would like to see ball reversal without dribbling here. I mean, you got Dylan. Why not just pass it right over to him? He's open. We want to reverse the ball. Instead, we have dribbling. And when you dribble and you try to pass it with one hand, you're going to have less accuracy. So this is a one-handed pass off the dribble, a very difficult play. LeBron makes it look easy, but we can't all be LeBron. And we get lucky here because Dylan is able to recover this. But DJ really should have stolen this pass because it doesn't come off quite right. He just didn't get it. And Dylan was able to get it and then goes past him, and he has Ennie wide open here on the right, and Ennie drains the three. So we did get kind of lucky here. We took a chance dribbling up the court. We took two dribbles at half court rather than just reverse the ball. And we did a one-hand pass, which should have been picked off, and we got a three-pointer. So sometimes you do everything wrong and you get a good result. Not very often, though. Okay, very quickly, we come down here. Ennie tries to take advantage of the defense before it gets set. and he's able to find Frankie here in the corner. And again, what I want you to try to do, if possible, is know where your next pass is going to go. So Frankie, you're over here, you're in the corner, you catch it, you got Dylan right here. Like the most obvious pass is just going to be the next guy around. In this case, it's Dylan. The next guy in line is Dylan. You don't want to throw skip passes across the court unless you're really good at that. And you just want to throw the ball at Dylan, which Frankie does, but after a dribble. So again, that one dribble, in that time, the defense is able to get set. And by the time Dylan catches it, two guys are on him. So maybe a pass right away before the dribble right here when everyone's still going this direction, he gets an open three. But one dribble, the three is a little bit less open than it was. And Dylan just misses it. But then he hustles and we do get the team rebound. Now, can you post someone up against a zone? Yes, you can, especially if the defender is too deep. So here throws the inbound pass to Jafari, and Dylan just pins his defender, who's right underneath the hoop because he was defending the inbounds pass, and he was too deep. And so Jafari sees that advantage that Dylan has, gets a pass in. Dylan does a nice job of reaching out for the ball so the defender can't tap it away. One dribble, turn, spin, lay it up and in, and the foul. Again, let's look at this in regular speed from the inbounds play. And there's your assist right there. We love those assists. Let's take a look at this play here. We come down. Dylan with two dribbles here. So here dribbles, draws the defense over. And there's Jafari. He's got Dylan. They call a walk. I just want to go back and just look at a couple things on this play. The first thing is, again, Dylan, when you catch the ball, there's nowhere to go here. You're not driving to the hoop. If you're not driving to the hoop, where are you going? Where are you dribbling? Like, no reason to take two dribbles. Just catch it. Just catch it, hold it up. You got a 5-foot-tall guard guarding you. Hold the ball up. Let's try to get it to someone in the high post. Let's space the court. Now, we have, we're not really in good position here. So, anyway, the pass gets made, and then we do get something good out of it. Jafari flashes to the high post. And because Zahir has actually drawn, I don't know what Josh Rubinchik was doing way out of his zone here. He's supposed to be over here, but for some reason he comes over into DJ's zone, and they're double teaming. So Jafari goes to the open spot, and sometimes you outthink yourself. Like, you got Dylan, he's open, he's a good three-point shooter. Just pass it. Maybe he makes it, maybe he doesn't, but you're going to have a good shot. And the thinking, I know what you're thinking here is like, everyone else thinks you're going to pass it too. Why don't you just duck underneath? But again, this is a much tougher shot. And they call walk. So sometimes just make the simple pass. Like, we might not score, but you'll at least have made the play that is going to make everyone happy, your coach, your teammates. All right? Look at the opening possession of the second half for us here. Do some things right and some things not right here. And I'm going to go back and look at it in a minute. Okay, so first thing, get some quick passes here. And you got to love quick passes against the zone. As soon as Asher catches it, he knows where Cooper is. Cooper has moved as the pass is going to Asher. He's moved to the high post. He gets the ball, he's got his hands ready, he knows where his next teammate is going to be, so he reverses the ball. Nathaniel's open if he wants to shoot, he's got a shot, or Lewis has also got a shot here. So again, just by pass, you have an open shot, right? And here's an extra pass, nothing wrong with that. As it happens, Lewis wasn't ready to shoot or wasn't planning to shoot, and as a result, steps out of bounds. Now, luckily, they did not call that, but my point is, dribbling creates risks, right? And one of the risks is you never get a shot because you've stepped out of bounds or you dribbled into traffic and you turned it over. In this case, He steps out of bounds, dribbles, the defense collapses, and now there's really no shot at this point. The shot was here right at the beginning. Perhaps he was surprised that Nathaniel didn't shoot. But anyway, the possession continues. And so the possession continues, and then the extra dribble, the infamous extra dribble here. So this is good. We pass to the elbow, and then we've got Asher on the weak side, and Cooper does pass the ball there, and he knows Asher's there. And so this is what we want to do. We just want to reverse the ball and get open shots. But the one dribble sometimes can give the defense a little bit extra chance to recover, or makes your teammate wait a little bit longer. But that said, Cooper got away with the dribble. He passed. This is an open shot. This is a good shot. This is the kind of shot we want. Just didn't go in. Now watch this sequence here. And he steals the ball. And eventually we get the ball back as it goes out of bounds. But what I want you to pay attention to here is, is Chris Klein. Again, this is why I tell people, don't dribble unless you have somewhere to go. He has absolutely nowhere to go here. Now we know he pretty much only drives right, so he drives right here, but there's a defender right in front of him. Happens to be the best defender on our team, and he goes right into him. He's got a defender on the left, he's got a defender on the right. He takes a dribble. There is nothing to be accomplished here by dribbling except risk, and the risk is that you get the ball stolen or you travel. In this case, he got the ball stolen. So we search ahead here, and so we get the ball to the baseline. As I mentioned, when you get the ball to the baseline against a zone, usually the lane is going to be open. So Nathaniel does the right thing. He cuts into the lane. And you see right there, he's open. What's the problem? The problem is he keeps going. And so he's going right into two defenders, right? And that, now obviously this pass shouldn't have been thrown because Stefan was in a position to intercept it, but if Nathaniel had stopped right here, what you want to do is you want to stop in the dead spots in the zone. Like he stops here, this pass gets through for sure. And then Nathaniel either has a quick shot or maybe he reverses the ball to someone on the weak side who's open. Actually, there's no one on the weak side. Lewis is up at the top. But the point is, go to the dead spot and wait there. Don't keep running into traffic. That's how you end up with turnovers. Now, somehow we got the ball back. Just my hustle, but try to make the game as simple as possible. Go to the open spots and wait there. Now you're going to see here why we switch to a zone, because it's a lot easier to guard DJ with two people than with one. And there's a perfect example why. I know he has a habit of trying to dribble through zones like a lot of players in our league do. And so we got two guys, they're perfectly right next to each other here. They're not too far out, they're defending the lane, but close enough to the three-point line to defend the three-point line, and DJ just tries to go through them. You know what? The refs are not going to give you foul calls when you try to go, and this wasn't a foul, but even if it were, there's no guarantee they give you a call because they don't like to see players try to do the impossible. And there's nothing here. They want to see offensive players gain an advantage. That's when they call fouls on the defense. If you have not gained an advantage, and there's no advantage to be gained here, you're just trying to split two people who are right next to you, you're going to lose the ball, and that's what happened. This is a nice sequence here because the ball never touches the ground. Pass, 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 and a shot. And a shot doesn't go in, but again, that's what we're looking for. Now, I had said to Lewis after that previous play where he didn't take the three-point shot, like if you get an open three-point shot, you got to shoot the ball, because we might not get a better shot. Next time he gets it, open three-point shot, nylon. 3 points. That's how you beat zones. You move the ball and you shoot it. Now in this play, they haven't quite set up their defense yet. We get an early high screen here from Cooper. It's always a great play. If you can start a screen and roll before the defense is even set up, you're often going to get something. But the defense does a nice job of recovering here. Asher runs into traffic, and he does a smart thing. He knows where his teammates are, and so he dishes the ball. And we get open 3 for Nathaniel, which goes in. So, yeah, when you start to drive against the zone, you're going to want to know what your exit strategy is. And, hopefully Asher's taking a look around. He knows he's got Nathaniel on the left. He probably sees Lewis on the right. So if he gets into trouble here, he has options. So let's see how that looked in regular speed. Now here's a situation where our spacing wasn't great. Like what we saw earlier, we saw players spaced out, high post, low post, 3 guys on the perimeter, and maintaining distance between themselves. Right now, we're starting the offense, and really no one's in position, right? Cooper's at the high post, so is Jafari. We only have 1 guy in the perimeter here, Zahir. So just, I think probably in retrospect, you want to hold the ball until your teammates get down. So again, we're trying to do a pick and roll here, it looks like, but we're not ready to do it, right? We're just not ready. And so it doesn't happen, and players are out of position, and we end up with a turnover. Let's look at how that looks in real speed. Actually, Cooper recovered the loose ball and got a good shot off, so we got lucky there. But again, let's set up the offense, space the court, and move the ball. Keep it simple. Now remember I was talking about keeping it simple. Like this is the opposite of keeping it simple. The old one-handed pass. It's just really hard to control the ball off a dribble with one hand. The other thing is, and this is an investment term, but risk and reward. Like if you take a risk, the bigger your risk, the bigger the reward has to be. And here, the risk is that we throw the ball away with a one-hand pass. The reward is that Jafari gets the ball 25 feet from the basket, which anyone getting the ball 25 feet from the basket is not much of a reward. So you only want to take a high risk when you can get something good out of it, such as a layup. Not just, but again, at least we do have our 3 guys on the perimeter here, and so we have a little more court balance than we did before. This is the start of the 4th quarter here. And one thing I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse here, but sometimes the simplest play is the easiest play. It usually is. So we have the court spaced pretty well here. We have Frankie running the baseline and Jafari on the weak side. We got Ennie at the top. We got Dylan, and we got Zahir on the wing, and we have Dylan in the corner. So, what's the obvious play here? To me, the obvious pass is Dylan in the corner because no one's guarding him and he's a good 3-point shooter. If you just hold the ball, maybe someone flashes to the middle here, like maybe Ennie flashes to the middle. If he's not open, if Josh goes with him, we have Frankie probably comes to the top of the key here. The point is, we want to move the ball without dribbling if possible. If you dribble, it doesn't necessarily create an advantage, it just creates risk. So, simple pass, Dylan in the corner, make the defense work, make the defense keep turning their heads, moving around. They don't really have to move their heads very much if you're dribbling because you can't go very fast when you're dribbling. Whereas if you're passing, you can pass the ball around and the defense gets out of whack. Now here's an interesting sequence. So we got a 3-point shot there, which was great. And the reason we got this 3-point shot is because we had good ball movement here. Starting from this point, Jafari passes to Frankie. And this time Frankie doesn't dribble the ball. Doesn't dribble it. Just pass. So the defense doesn't have time to get out to Dylan, and Dylan catches the ball in rhythm, which for a shooter is always nice. No dribble, catches the ball in rhythm. And like I said, it usually takes only 2 passes to get 2 good passes, but you can make 10 passes to get to that point. But once you get to it, 2 passes are usually enough to get an open shot. So there's one, and there's the other, and there's the open shot. Now, I do want to go back to the crossover dribble, which is a sweet crossover dribble, but again, this is how you make coaches nervous. And why does it make coaches nervous? Because if you could probably get a good shot just by, say, passing it to Dylan, who's wide open here. The guards are both out of position. Dylan's open. This is the shot he ends up taking, several passes later. But on a crossover dribble, look how little this misses Josh Rubinchik's foot by. I mean, yeah, sweet looking move, but only because he got away with it. This could have easily gone off Josh's foot. Wouldn't have been a kick because he's not trying to kick it. He's just standing there. And we can end up with a turnover there. So, again, if possible, let's try to keep it simple. I know we get upset at the refs a lot when we think they call things that are wrong against us. This was a play that he called a travel, and he didn't think he traveled. But my thing is, again, it's risk-reward. There's no reason to actually fake anyone out here. We just want to catch the ball and move ourselves into open spots, right? There will be opportunities that come up to drive past people that are better opportunities, and we're going to see one later on. But in this case, there's the catch. The left foot is the pivot foot, and if we run it, you can see the foot drags right across about 3 inches right there. And that's why he called the walk. See that? See the foot drag? That's why he called the travel. But again, no need to fake anyone out here. We can get you an open shot just by moving the ball. You just got to trust that your teammates are going to keep the ball moving and it's going to come back to you. And here's another sequence here, and something I didn't quite realize about this before. This is obviously not the shot we wanted here, but this team had been playing zone against us all game, and here they came out in a man. Right? Everyone's matched up with someone, and the little guys, the 2 guards, are no longer at the top of the key because they're in a man. So if they're in a man and we could just take a moment to figure that out, we can either run a flex offense, or if we're not ready to do that, we can just go to the best matchup. And the best matchup right here is any on Chris, because Chris can't guard any. No way in hell can Chris guard him, right? Just not going to happen. So we want to clear some space and let any go to work, because that's the best matchup we have, the best matchup. But we don't. We rush a shot. We don't give our offense time to make the defense work or to exploit the weaknesses. So that's what I want you guys to do, and try to recognize what kind of defense they're in, and then we can take advantage of our matchup situations. Here's a sequence from Team 8 against our zone. There's a pass to the free throw line, a dribble, and an attempt to pass down low. And again, I want you to see how zones react, and what you have to do to beat them. Here's our zone, and here's Josh Rubinchik, and he sees a man at the high post, right? And you'll see down here, here's a man at the high post, DJ, and down here, Cooper is guarding a man in the low post. And if you go back, you'll see, Lewis is over here guarding a man on the wing, Chris Klein. So what Team 8 really should be trying to do is pass here and then pass down low when we rotate. As you can see, passes to the free throw line. Cooper comes up because that's his man, right? And then the man he was guarding in the low post is now open. But why can't they make this pass? Because DJ doesn't immediately realize he's there. It's a good idea to look around where your teammates are before you get the ball so you can make an immediate pass depending on what the defense does. But instead he dribbles the ball, right? By then, Lewis has started to collapse back into his spot, which he's supposed to do. And then, so when the pass finally gets made, Lewis is there to knock it away. So again, you got to do 2 quick passes. You got to know where your teammates are beforehand. This could have been a pass here, and then an immediate pass down low, like a bounce pass here, and they would have had a layup. Or he could have kicked it out for an open 3, but instead he did neither. Again, it's a lot easier to play basketball on a video than it is when you're actually on the court, but the video does help you see what's possible and how to prepare for those possibilities. Again, this is it in live action.